Welcome back, and if you're new here to my channel, my name is Sylvia and I make videos with planning with occasional review. Today's video is day 17. Day 17, and I thought I would focus on reading. So again, but this time with younger readers. I'm reading with my niece Jade, who is in the 5th grade and will be 11 next month. So I thought I would quickly kind of go through what we do and then kind of show you what I did yesterday and what I'm possibly going to be doing tomorrow. I don't really know. It's late in the evening now, so I've already kind of planned for today. So that's why the struggle is real. So let's start with yesterday. We went through all of this stuff, didn't figure out typing club, so I have a migrating arrow on that. Made a few notes here. We did watch a bunch of shows, so we ended up watching Nancy Drew, the TV series. We're trying to catch up with that on the CW, and then Legacies on the CW. Enchanted, which I love. It reminds me of Cruel World, which I don't even know where I'd look to find that, but I'm gonna have to look that up because I don't think Jade's ever seen that. And then Spider-Man Homecoming, enjoyable so much. If you're not into Marvel, what you should know is there was a set of Spider-Man movies with Tobey, what's his name? I want to say it's Maguire. I don't know. I'm horrible with names. Anyway, and they were good. They were pretty good. We really liked them a lot. Kristen Dunst was in that series. And then there was like another standalone Spider-Man when they were trying to bring it back. I don't know what happened. They didn't make any more after that. And I think he was older in that one, but I can't really remember. And then they started to make more Spider-Man again. And it's almost like you're sitting there thinking, wow, Hollywood is really out of ideas. Like, what's happening? But the reality is they made Spider-Man again because they wanted him to be part of the Marvel universe and part of the Avengers. So they needed to set that up. And that's what happens in the first one, Homecoming. And it's so good. It's like my favorite Marvel movie out of all of them. And I mean, I really do love Iron Man, but I love a good Spider-Man movie. I don't even know. And then this morning, I was catching up on the royals because everyone's been talking about the whole Meghan Markle and Oprah interview that she did with Prince Harry. And I had seen parts of that interview, but I hadn't really listened to any of the commentators or anything like that. So I was listening to some in England as well as some here in the US. My ear is clogged and it's driving me crazy because I can only hear out of one ear. Anyway, so I was catching up on that because everyone's talking about it, and yeah, it's very interesting. I like a good drama. I don't know. Anyway, so I didn't do any reading at all. And I don't think I'm going to now because Jay and I are going to lay down and watch another movie. We just sort of vegged out today and that was about it. So no real planning for today because I already did that all. Let's see here. I might add a couple of other tests and I might not because again, this is just a lazy veg day because Jade was here. I did go ahead and make the spreads. This is the vocab spread and then this one is the book spread, but I haven't really added to them yet. Well, at least not to that one. This one I've gotten started. So these are some funny words going back to young readers. So what I do is I use a Hobonichi Weeks. I try to plan in a Hobonichi Weeks all of the time and it fails all of the time, yet I continue to try. So if you're not familiar with the Hobonichi Weeks, it has the Tomoe River paper, which is Bible-y thin, and it has, you know, the week on one side and memo on the other. It's cream colored, so it's even darker. It's hard to tell because it's kind of dark in here. It's later. I was trying to catch the last of the sunlight in the day, but this is definitely more cream than the Leuchtturm. So what I usually do is I write down what chapter or what pages that we read. I usually put up here the title of the book we're reading for that week, and then over here in the memo, I write down any words that we come across. Like for instance, if there's a word that Jade cannot pronounce, I write it down here. If there's a word she can pronounce but she doesn't know the definition to, I also write it down here. And it just helps for us to be you know, more of an active reader. Sometimes if it's a really thick book, very condensed, for her age. We will write down the chapters and then a little summary of each chapter, because she takes a quiz on all of these books, through accelerated reading or Renaissance, one or both. I can't even remember what it's called. But so I do that here as we're reading. And since this is so tiny and small, it's smaller actually than standard traveler's notebook, in case you don't know. You can just like put it at your bedside or on your bed. It's pretty easy to maneuver, especially when you're on the bed laying down. Sometimes we do that because of my back issues. I can't always sit, and we'll just lay there and we'll read on the bed, and I will just like write upside down, and it's just easy to hold this little book. So this is really nice. So in here, we wrote down a couple of words. The first one, if you're not familiar with the spelling, you might be like, what is that? This is how you write hors d'oeuvre. So I thought that was interesting because she came across this word. We're reading R.L. Stein's The Girlfriend. So these were books that I read when I was her age. I started reading them when I was in 4th grade. She's in 5th grade now. And they are pretty... look at it. They're old. I read them a bunch. They're pretty banged up. They have some wear and tear, certainly. So this book currently was printed in 1991. So there's some language in here, like some stuff that dates the actual book that she wasn't understanding. Like, she didn't understand the word veg, and I thought that was kind of weird because it's like, I think I use veg all the time. Let's just veg out. She's like, what does that mean? The character said something about, I can't just veg. I have to keep working, because he's trying to get into Princeton. And so I wrote that down here because I had to explain to her what it meant. And then it's kind of like couch potato, which she was like, what? And I'm like, wow, am I letting you down, or do you just not know these things? So we talked about that a little bit and laughed. And then, of course, she knew what hors d'oeuvre was. She knew, oh yeah, it's an appetizer, but she just had never seen it on the page before. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And we're really liking this book. It really reminds me of a Swim Fan, which I think was in the early 2000s. I just get them all confused anymore, but that was a really good movie, and it's a lot like that. So I was thinking about that movie and laughing. So next, after this book, because we're getting close to halfway through this, we're going to move on to The Lightning Thief. So Isaac is Jade's older brother, and he's older by, well, I'm sorry, I'm shaking you, by a good 5 years. So we tried Harry Potter. We read the first one. It was a no-go for him. He just was like not a fan of the books. Neither am I. But we love the movies. So last year, I bought the set of Harry Potter books because Jade was so obsessed with the movies, just like, her brother, that I thought, well, maybe she'll get through them. So I bought the books for her as a gift because she really wanted them. We read the first one, and she was just like, pass also. And she likes more fantasy, action, adventure, I need a quest kind of books. So I don't know what it is about Harry Potter. I don't know if you have to push through the first 2 books, because I've personally read the first 2, and I stopped somewhere like mid 3rd book because I just had no desire to read it, and I thought, well, maybe if the kids read it, then I'll definitely get through them. They don't want to read them. So The Lightning Thief was a book that I ended up getting Isaac because it's similar to Harry Potter in the action adventure, I'm going to go on a quest kind of a book. So Rick Riordan wrote this. They made the movies, and the movies were okay, but they're not like the books at all. Percy Jackson is hilarious in these books. He's very charismatic. They didn't do that in the movies, which is unfortunate. There's no reason, and I've heard other people say this, there's no reason why Percy Jackson couldn't be as big or even equal to Harry Potter. They're that ingenious. So he's a demigod, which means he's half human and half god, and he finds this out and has to go to a camp where he can be safe because he's being hunted. And it's brilliant. I love it. It also takes place partly in the modern world. So we go to different cities and stuff, and it's really, really fun. So I thought that Jade would like this. It is an exceptionally thick book. I looked up how many points she needs to read for this trimester, because they do go by trimesters. I might have said quarters at one point in the video, but that was incorrect. So there's 377 pages in here. Right now, we'll have this book done by tomorrow, easily. And then she's going back to her mom. So this is going to be a little bit harder. We're not going to have like a big spring break to read this in, so I think it might take us the rest of the year to finish it together, because we're going to read it together, and I only have her after school sometimes for half an hour to an hour or so, and I rarely see her on weekends, so it'll be a kind of a slow read, but it's nice. She just got finished reading what is it called, James and the Giant Peach, and they watched the movie, which I loved at her age as well, and she did like it. And this copy, I mean, was back in the day when I bought it for Isaac, so it's old and it's had some wear and tear as well. But I think what I'm going to do, since I like to put my book spreads in the week I'm actually reading, I'm going to put a spread, not a spread, an actions list in the back here for Jade, just so that I can keep track of what we're reading and, you know, just checking things off as we go in here. And even as a reward, having like a movie day after it's all over. And I've actually read all of the books that are in this series. He has a couple of different ones, but the one that was in this series, I've read all of them and they're fantastic. Okay, so that is all set up and ready. So either it'll become a collection or an actions list, maybe a little bit of both. It can still look pretty even if we're going to make it actionable. So this is where that will go when we start sometime next week. I'm excited because I do love Percy Jackson. I wish that they could have gotten it together. I've heard whispers over like the past couple of years that at some point they were going to make this a TV series. I think that's still the case, but with COVID and everything, I haven't really looked into it again, but I hope so. All right, so that's everything for today. I hope that everyone is reading something that they love, or decides that they're going to pick up something to read that they might love. All right, so don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I hope this was helpful. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.